This is a recipe that we make in the cookery school. It's a coffee cake with toffee nuts. A wee bit different, but absolutely delicious. And I'll tell you one thing that I've learned over the last couple of years is coconut sugar. I never used it before until we tried for one of my cookbooks lots of recipes using the coconut sugar, and it's a really lovely, it says, you know, it's ideal for bacon, cereals. It's an alternative to any sweetener, and it's a really excellent sugar for baking with. You use less of it. So I'm going to show you to make a lovely kind of a syrup with some nuts, and then we're going to make our coffee cake with the coconut sugar, and you'll just pick this up in your Dunnes stores. You will. It's yeah, I think it's fantastic. Even with cupcakes, it gives a lovely kind of moisture to the actual cake and a beautiful flavour and colour. So it's a very simple kind of like a syrup I'm going to show you. We're going to use some nice honey. So a couple of spoonfuls of honey, very well measured as you can see. A little touch of water. And then this is the sugar here. I'll just show it to you before I put it into the pot there. So it's a really kind of fine sugar, and that's an organic one there, so it is. So I'm going to pop that in there. And with the coconut sugar, you use less for the coffee cake, which is fantastic, because we've tried this with lots of other sugars, but the coconut sugar, it doesn't taste of coconut, I should have said that. It's a really kind of beautiful flavour. So I'm just going to bring that to the boil. We'll keep an eye on that, and then we're going to put in these nuts, but I'll come back to that and I'll show you that in a moment. So for the recipe for your coffee cake, I'm going to just tell you what I've in the bowl. I've creamed for about maybe 5 minutes, 150 grams of butter and 100 grams of the coconut sugar. Okay, that's in there. Now we're going to add in some vanilla extract. So roughly about a capful of vanilla extract, and this is from a company that we buy all our vanilla from in Macneen. It's called Vanilla Bazaar, and I'll just show you. These are some of their products. Look them up, they're fantastic. So Vanilla Bazaar. Go online, look them up, and just order, and the vanilla is excellent. It really is a fantastic product. So one egg yolk, that's what's in the bowl here. 1 teaspoonful of baking powder. We have a little bit of milk in the jug here, and also we have this here. We have also coffee. So we have, and then we have our plain flour. So it's very simple. You cream up this, and what creaming means is have your butter at room temperature. And kind of using just a hand mixer or a KitchenAid or a Kenwood, whatever you have, and do that for about maybe 4 or 5 minutes. Okay. Now we're going to add in our baking powder, and we're going to also add in our flour, and then our eggs. So it's kind of like you can mix everything together now. So just using your sieve. So we'll use the baking powder first, and then the plain flour. Okay. So just this part of the hand here is actually the strongest part. So when you're kneading bread, or if you ever make fresh pasta, that part there. See the way I'm just hitting the sieve like that? It'll just make it a little bit easier, so it will. 1 egg yolk and 1 full egg. So just separate an egg yolk. That's what we've done there. And then this is our coffee. So you can use instant coffee. I've used some of this nice Simply Better coffee. So about 2 shots of that and a little bit of water. And I'll just show you. Just a tiny little bit of boiling water. That's all. It's going to give a nice kind of a coffee flavour. And if it's one thing that I love is coffee, I really do. Now milk. So we're going to put in, so in the recipe roughly I have about 5 tablespoons of milk. So I'm just going to put this on low, and then you just mix this all together, and then we'll add in the milk. And I need to scrape it down. So I'm just looking over here, Mel, if you just zoom in there, and you can see a nice deep saucepan. So see the way that's bubbling up, guys? That's what you want. That lovely colour is coming from the coconut sugar, and then the flavour from the honey. Now a little bit more milk. Smell of that. So this technique, everyone, is known as creaming. So you're just mixing everything together. You can put in different nuts and that. You can put in some spices if you want to. Cinnamon works well. We have our vanilla in there, and the vanilla extract is much better than the essence. Remember that. So that's our mixture ready. Just knock that off. Let me just clear this. So I'm going to show you the consistency using my spatula. Just scrape all this down here. If you find that it's a little bit stiff, just add a little bit more milk, another spoonful of milk. But if you can see that there, I can smell the coffee, and that coconut sugar is fantastic. Let's have a little look over here. So this is beginning to get dark, which is exactly what I want. A little bit thick, and I kind of want it a little bit thicker than honey. So just, we'll concentrate on this for one moment. I'm going to add in these nuts. So we have some flaked almonds, some walnuts. Of course, walnuts is traditionally served with a coffee cake. And then we have some pecans. So the pecan nuts are really lovely. We use all three, but I think you can just use one if you want to. But we'll just stick with this just for one moment. So we're reducing this, everyone. Have it up on the full heat. It's nearly there, but not there yet. And I can show you in a spoon what it's probably a little bit too runny, because I want to create a nice kind of syrup. I'll add a little bit of butter that'll give a lovely shine to it. And again, you can add in a little bit of vanilla extract, which I will do. Just a capful. So the vanilla extract is worth doing. So just while we're waiting that, before I just start filling the tins. So part of my cookware is the bakeware. And these are the cutest little tins. I often get messages from people, you know, what would you bake in that? Soda bread, wheaten bread, you could do a little scone in it. You know, I'm going to show you how to do these lovely little kind of like coffee cakes. They come in a pack of 4, you know, they're just lovely, small little size. Recently we launched this. So this is our spring form tin, perfect for cheesecakes and desserts and that. And the coffee cake will actually cook in this, but it'll be a little bit shallow. So just, if you doubled up this recipe that I've given you, you can make a really nice large coffee cake, and that's perfect. And the spring form, so you have that heavy gauge. So there's been great feedback from the bakeware and the cookware, and thank you all so much. At the end of the day, it's you that uses it. Hopefully you're enjoying cooking and baking, and I've seen a great increase in that, like over the last year in particular, more people cooking from scratch. So that's a great thing. And I think when you bake in particular, you know what goes into it, and when you cook from scratch, you know exactly what you're putting into it. That coconut sugar is definitely worth getting. When we were testing one of our books, my healthy cookbook, probably about 5 years ago, I'd never heard of coconut sugar. I didn't know there was such a thing, and it's really beautiful and excellent, and has really come back in price, because I was actually shocked when we were doing it for the cookbook how expensive it was. So it really is a sustainable and an excellent sugar for baking. Would I make a sponge? No, but cupcakes, yes. This coffee cake works really well. So we're nearly ready here. Going to let this just cook for another minute or two. What I don't want to do, it can easily burn, to be honest with you. I just wanted to reduce it a little bit more, so I'll just keep an eye on that. I'll give it about another 2 minutes. So these little tins, all I've done is brush it with some lovely butter. You can use a little bit of oil, but butter's perfect for this. A little tip for you when you're baking is put them on a tray, and then you can lift them in and out of the oven. The oven is preset, at 160. So that's the temperature of the oven, and that's a fan oven for all my recipes. Okay, so I'm just ever so often coming back to this. So I'll start to fill this, and I'll just get a spoon. And we'll just literally lift our little kind of a tin and kind of drop it down. Using the spatula. And then kind of just fill it. Don't fill it, kind of, I'll probably put a little bit too much in there. You can always top it up, but just bring it right to the edge. No, that does look okay when you spread it out. And then the same for this here. So this recipe will make 4 of these loaf tins, or you can do it in a 2-pound loaf tin if you want to. I'll turn that down now. And then just literally just let it drop. So that lovely loose consistency. Sieve your flour, your baking powder, you know, 1 egg yolk and an egg. You're probably wondering, well, why wouldn't you put 2 eggs into it? You can. You'd probably just cut back the amount of milk. But I think just using the egg yolk enriches it. So when we do this for one of our courses in the cookery school, you know, the students love it, and they all get to take a little loaf, or a little kind of coffee cake, shall I say, home with them. So there's nothing nicer than that. It's a great little recipe because it's going to keep in an airtight container for about 3 to 4 days, but it probably won't last that long. And then we're going to scrape the rest, and that's looking really good. So I have reduced the heat underneath the caramel, so I have. So that lovely kind of soft, kind of drop in consistency, that's exactly what you want. I use the little hand mixer. You can use a KitchenAid or whatever, just scraping it all. The spatula now stops, I suppose, any waste. You know, we don't like wasting carving. And I remember when I was baking with my mother, you know, when we'd be making a sponge, I'd be tasting and getting a spoon in there. Now, Gone with the days. Those were the good old days. So guys, we're going to let that just kind of, that's going to spread out. Don't worry about that. The ones that I've already done behind me, I'll show you in a minute. They took 25 minutes at 160. So obviously if it's a bigger thin, if you're going to use that and double the recipe, it's going to take longer. So I'll show you with a skewer. Just I'll leave that there that I don't forget. So remember the tip, on the tray into the oven. Have your oven preheated at 160. Okay. So they took 25 minutes. I'll come back to these in 1 minute. I just want to show you the caramel. So Mel, if we just zoom in here and we can just see the lovely consistency. Can you see the way that's thickened? Now, a couple of little cubes of butter. Gives a lovely shine and a lovely taste to the caramel. See the way it changes? Watch when you put in the butter. It begins to bubble. Okay. Now, we're nearly there. Tiny little bit of water. You'll hear it sizzling, and that's why the spatula is important. If you were doing this with kind of like a teaspoon, you get a nasty little burn, so just be careful of that. In goes our lovely pecans, flaked almonds, and then our walnuts. And then give that a stir. Now, and that's it there. That's our toffee nuts. They're delicious. Even this little recipe there that I've shown you is fantastic, drizzled over some ice cream. Okay, so when you're looking for to check if it's cooked, so you butter your little tins, let them sit for about a minute or two when they come out of the oven. But before they do, just get the skewer, and literally when that goes into the center and it comes out clean, and that there's no rawness from the mixture on the skewer, it's done. These don't take long. These don't take long at all. So I'm just going to literally now put these on here. They've been cool, and we just baked them literally about an hour ago. So they've been already kind of cooled down. And then what we're going to do is put these lovely nuts on top. So just using the spoon. So if we just go in nice and close here, Mella, for this, just drizzle this off here. And this will soak into this lovely kind of this coffee. Maybe I'm just making a little bit. I should have just spread them out that you can see them better. Now you don't have to do this like this with a little bit of cream, or you can use a little bit of buttercream if you want to, with a little bit of coffee into it. But trust me, these just kind of lift them to another level. So I'll just do 3 of them because that one there is just going to sit. Just give it more space. But those lovely pecan nuts, the flaked almonds, those walnuts, such beautiful flavour. So I have some left for that last one there. Now, and there we go. Simple, delicious. That toffee will kind of firm up a little bit. Not too hard like a caramel, like a brittle or anything like that, or a praline. But the texture of that, and I would just serve that with a little dollop of whipped cream or creme fraiche. It's so delicious. It's so moist. When I have this one here, I'll just very quickly just get a knife and just show you just how moist it is. I'll just cut into the center. So it's really, really moist. And it's a lovely kind of light coffee cake. It's not heavy, I promise you that. Whenever we do it in the cookery school, the students love this because it's flavoursome, it's light, and it's very Moorish. Try that coconut sugar when you're baking. It definitely is excellent. So enjoy this very simple and quick recipe. This is my coffee cake with the toffee nuts.